But is he the best player in this draft on his own? Without a doubt.
Please show me a better example of a Bruce Arians quarterback.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Tank Observers. My name is Jackson McCarty, always joined by my co-host Chris Spar. And Chris, what are we doing today?
All right, so today we are going to be breaking down the AFC East. And when I say breaking down, I mean breaking them down because they have so many issues that need addressing, and we're going to talk about all of them today.
This division's already kind of breaking down as the season transpires. We might as well bring some light to them.
Yeah, I mean, who would think that right now, at least in our opinion, the Bills are in the best shape of any team going into the 2020 season?
God forbid. God forbid this be their decade, because I've had such a good time for the past 18 years or so of my life just clowning on the Bills. No hate, because I love the Bills Mafia. I love some of the players that they've had. But, God, it's just so fun.
I mean, come on. Bills Mafia is lit.
Yeah.
We don't want them taking over the country. And definitely...
We do not need a bunch of Mafia members running around in the streets. Not the kind that wear fancy suits and smoke cigars. The kinds that jump through tables and dance in mustard and whatnot.
Yeah, I was going to say, that condiment shower really throws me off. We'd like to bring you some news, but there hasn't really been much going on. You know, a few trades, Josh Norman being signed by the Bills of all teams.
Yeah, you get to talk a little bit about that one.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of the impact moves that have happened haven't really hit the AFC East, obviously Josh Norman being one of them, but one of the big spotlights that could impact trades positions, Trey Turner, no longer in Carolina. Obviously, he's a Charger now. They got Russell Okung now. Interesting, not really a trade that made sense to me.
Yeah, you know, you just draft Greg Little, so you have a young left tackle.
Yep.
So what do you do other than trade away your 4-time Pro Bowl right guard so that you can acquire Russell Okung, who, despite, you know, maybe still getting some production, is over the hill?
Very questionable decision. I hope Matt Rule knows there is no transfer portal this offseason. But anyways, we're gonna jump right into it. Let's start off with probably the hot commodity in the AFC East. They've been the hot commodity for as long as I've been alive. The New England Patriots. And Topher, run us through some of those impact free agents, some of the guys that could leave, really shake up this team.
So they're mostly, if not all, veterans, but they're falling apart. Tom Brady, Kyle Van Noy, Devin McCourty, Jamie Collins, Danny Shelton, Joe Thuney, and, well, Nick Folk. But, you know.
You got to have a kicker, man. You have to.
Vinatieri. No, not Vinatieri. Wait, yeah. Vinatieri?
Yeah, he played in New England.
Yeah, but he's not the guy I'm thinking of.
I'm not sure what you're thinking of. I can't read minds. We might have good chemistry as podcast hosts, but I'm not a psychic based off that.
Never mind what I was saying.
Scratch.
So, Tom Brady, Kyle Van Noy, they're all Pro Bowlers, all pros, except for maybe Jamie Collins and Danny Shelton. But even they are impact players. Yeah. They're all leaving, and the Patriots, they don't have the scratch to bring them all back.
Yeah. It's they're definitely running a little bit low on cap space. They've got $43.9 million estimated according to Spot Track right now. The big free agent, obviously Tom Brady, if they try to get him back in the doors, it's going to take up a huge chunk of that percentage. But let's run you through what we see them doing in free agency. If they miss out on Tom Brady, I feel like Jarrett Stidham is their next guy. I don't know that he's ready yet. I think Josh McDaniels has some weird fixation with Stidham. It was his handpicked target, last year or 2 years ago?
Last year.
He was his handpicked target last year. He really likes, the makeup of Stidham, which a lot of what we're saying right now could have applied to Tom Brady when he was drafted.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Tom Brady, late pick. Stidham, late pick. You know, maybe I don't think they had that same type of faith that they had in Brady because, you know, they had Bledsoe at the time. But, you know, maybe we're saying the same thing that they were thinking about Stidham. Stidham didn't play his first year, neither did Brady. So maybe they're looking at him like he's that next, you know, weird, out-of-nowhere prospect.
Yeah, I put four potential quarterback options here for New England. If they do miss out on Tom, I put Teddy Bridgewater, who I feel like is, if it's not Jameis Winston, Teddy Bridgewater is my favorite quarterback to go get in this free agency class.
Yes.
If you're looking for a future option, if you're wanting a one-year Tom Brady, get him every day of the week. But I have Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett, New England ties, obviously. He could come back. He already knows the Patriot way. Andy Dalton, the Red Rockets about to need a new home. We know Joe Burrow's coming in.
I love that Andy Dalton when I saw that earlier. We, of course, have the same notes page right now. I'm seeing a name here, Keenum.
Yes, Case Keenum.
And next to it, in parentheses, I have a reason. He knew I was going to be reading this. He knows that he needs a reason. I lived through the Keenum era. I am a Viking loyalist from New York. But I watched that happen. I watched the mini miracle, and I know all of this man's flaws. I don't see how he fits the Patriot way at all.
Okay. Here's my sentimentality for this. I like the idea of him being used as they planned on using him, or Case Keenum, for Dwayne Haskins. If they think that they have Stidham and you don't want to spend money, because acquiring Andy Dalton is going to cost money. Jacoby Brissett already has, $17 million tied up on him? 27? 17? 20-something?
I think it's 17.
Okay.
But Dalton, I wouldn't be surprised if he got cut before he got traded, because I think teams are going to wait for him to get cut and then pounce on him in the free agency.
I don't think he will get cut. I think they'll keep him as Burrow's backup if they don't find a trade suitor. But I digress. Case Keenum, I like the idea of him coming in for a year or two, letting Stidham get another just reliable quarterback. Case Keenum is nothing special. We're very aware that he is nothing special. But he is serviceable. Joe Flacco could also fit that mold.
Three teams are aware that Case Keenum is serviceable.
Hey, Minnesota, he is the quarterback of the Minneapolis Miracle. I want to hear no trash talk on Case Keenum's name.
Listen, I think it's just that the Saints love losing to us. I'm not sure if it's the quarterbacks that are killing it, because we watched Kirk run through the Saints and then 49ers.
Yeah, things definitely happen, but those are the four options I realistically see the Patriots going with. One thing I would like to note, with the amount of money they have freed up, I think Kyle Van Noy is a must-walk. I don't think he has enough money. There's not enough money in the Patriots pot to go around. Either way, I think they're going to have to bring back some of those other guys to fill holes. Kyle Van Noy's walking.
I think the most likely, if they get Brady of this list at least, I wouldn't be surprised if they bring back Jamie Collins.
Yeah, Jamie Collins had such great success before he went to Cleveland that I think that him staying in New England, it's kind of like a Foles situation.
It's just, how much money is he gonna ask for?
Surely not much.
He's very versatile, but for the sake of this, why not move on from the people we know are leaving and get on to who they're gonna go after?
All right, the potential options, I'd love to see New England try to get Trent Williams. I am a Washington Redskins fan. I acknowledge that Trent Williams is a very, very good left tackle, and who, no matter who is underneath center for the Patriots, I can't imagine Bill Belichick tanking for Trevor. I can't imagine him just sitting on his oats and just waiting, because that's just not the kind of coach Belichick's ever been.
No way. I'm kind of interested. I know it's a little off topic, but you got to wonder when he's going to consider retirement, because Josh McDaniels, it seems like the way that they paid him, that he's the next guy for the Patriots coaching job.
He's getting I don't want to say Aaron Rodgers treatment. I relate it more to Bridgewater, because we've seen him take short deals to come back behind Breeze. In this situation, Belichick is the Breeze. He is one of the greatest to ever do it. Bridgewater is the potential heir to that throne, and I don't think McDaniels is willing to leave that spot. One, because New England is a very prestigious gig. Robert Kraft is a very good owner. But also for two, I'm not sure that he can do it outside of New England. We've seen him try.
that Broncos run when he made, who was it? Kyle Orton.
Kyle Orton, yes.
He looked like a stud for 8 weeks or 7 weeks,
And that's about all they got.
And then...
Oh, and he fluffed up the stock of a couple running backs along his way, but...
Was that Monty Ball?
No, that was before Monty Ball.
Huh.
Yeah.
I thought he might have been the Monty Ball era.
I think the year he quit coaching the Broncos was the year Monty Ball was projected to be a stud.
Yeah, it's the Bronco way to spice up running backs, get them contracts, and then Monty Ball was only in the NFL for 2 years.
Yeah,
and he was a free agent for like 6.
Mm-hmm. He's still hanging out somewhere. He should go be an XFL player.
Remember No Sean Moreno?
No Sean Moreno. That was who he really developed, however you want to say that. But either way, would love to see Trent Williams potentially go traded to New England. Anthony Costanzo could also be an option if Tom Brady walks. I don't figure they'll have the money. But a dark horse candidate, just keep in mind all of this is realistically if they have the money. Shaq Barrett. I would love to see him in a Patriots jersey. Him and Jamie Collins on the other side of each other.
Shaq Barrett would just dominate if he went to the Patriots, but he's going to want so much money.
Oh, tons. Absolutely tons.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
this all depends on...
That part depends on Judon's contract.
It's all relative.
Yes.
He might even hold out, wait to see what's good with Judon, how much he's getting paid, and try to match it.
Yeah. I mean, that's smart. But, okay, we've covered what we think New England could do in free agency. Topher, give me what you think about their first round.
Edge. We keep talking about Shaq Barrett, and, we're looking at guys like Terrell Lewis, who we've discussed.
Is the Patriot way.
Very long term. Very, very long time we've been talking about him. And, recently we've been looking at mock drafts, messing around, seeing what happens. Epinesa always has the potential to fall there. And
especially following that combine.
Kelvon Chason, he's moving up so much that the Patriots, very unlike them, might trade up rather than back, which they've done for like the past 8 years, discounting last year. So, it could be a very weird turn.
I feel like they have to go edge.
They have to go edge. They have no edge rushers at the moment. I'm pretty sure they lost Adrian Claiborne last year.
Yes.
They're working with Deatrick Wise. We all know that
hey, woo pig.
Yeah. Big Deatrick Wise guy. They don't really have anything going on. Danny Shelton's leaving. He's not an edge rusher, but defensive line.
They could get him in though. I feel like they'd have the potential to get him in.
I don't know how much he's going to be asking. Run stuffers don't run that much money. Another free agent that I wouldn't mind seeing go to the Patriots, Marcus Golden.
That's fair.
I just like the move. It seems like a them thing to do.
Yeah, while Shaq Barrett is definitely a pipe dream right now, they could do Shaq Barrett plus an edge first round if Jamie Collins ends up walking. But the New England Patriots do not have a second round pick. We'll go ahead and move on to their third round. Tight end and offensive tackle are kind of like the main focuses for me. I think Isaiah Wynn has a serious case of EFS, which, Topher, go ahead and explain to the viewers who might not be aware what EFS is.
All right, so I'm sure we all remember if you're watching this show, I'm sure that we all remember the massive bust that was Eric Flowers. Eric Flowers is Eric Flowers syndrome.
Yes.
Where he was unrightfully moved to left tackle and was a massive flop on the Giants half. Then he went to the Jaguars and continued to be tragic. And before finding his way to the Redskins, where they thought, hey, why not take this 6'5", 330-pound man and put him at guard, like anyone of that size should be. And he had he had his best season ever.
I would call him a quality starting guard.
Yeah.
He is somebody who at the beginning of the season when we signed him, I was making jokes about. And now I don't want to lose him in free agency.
You might.
I don't think.
I don't know how much money you guys have. I haven't checked. Did a little bit too much research on these 3 teams. But we do have 3 teams.
4.
3 teams to get through
after
these guys. So we have been sidetracked a lot.
We have been sidetracked.
Let's see if we can get through it all. If not, we will do our best to get maybe a short video out to you after.
Let's pull this rapid fire for the remainder of New England's picks. The ideal third round fits for me. Cole Kmet, if he's still available. Love him out of Notre Dame. My favorite tight end on the board. Another tight end they could look at, Adam Trotman. Very much so fits that mold of the New England way. And then I have Isaiah Wilson from Georgia and Jack Driscoll from Auburn. 2 just hosses that can hold up on their side of the tackles. They can let Isaiah Wynn move inside.
Yeah.
Just give somebody the opportunity to hold that down out there.
I think my favorite one here is Thad Moss, but we don't have to discuss him. We went to great lengths talking about him in a past video, so you could go check that out. But
I said absolutely.
yeah.
But yeah, let's burn through some of these later round picks that could be very valuable for the New England Patriots. One of my favorite players in this draft that we haven't gotten to talk about yet, Akeem Davis-Gaither. He is a Sun Belt player. He's a linebacker, and I used to live about 30 minutes away from Arkansas State, which is a Sun Belt team.
Yeah.
And so I've watched a little bit of it here and there. Obviously, Sun Belt's not the most exciting action to get into, but Akeem Davis-Gaither, very, very, very talented linebacker. Very talented linebacker. I'm not sold that he can get down and dirty. I think he's a zone guy, pretty strictly zone guy right now, not very long. But I would love to see him in New England because I think they could utilize him right.
They could utilize whoever they want right. They traded a 7th-round pick for Kyle Von Noy, who was a 6th-round pick in 2014. And, well, he just made the Pro Bowl and is looking at a nice, fat, maybe $12 to $14 million in free agency. So, well, we all know what the Patriots can do with these guys.
Some other quiet prospects that you could focus on: Antonio Gandy-Golden. If you're already kind of pushing N'Keal Harry out of the plans, Antonio Gandy-Golden could kind of serve as that Jacoby Myers role, not in the same position or not in the same way that you utilize him, but a later round pick that you bring in, you let use. Obviously, Jacoby Myers was an undrafted free agent.
Big Jacoby Myers guy.
Big Jacoby Myers guy. But Antonio Gandy-Golden is a jump ball specialist. He sits at 6'4", and I think he's got a little bit more malleability to him. I think he's not quite near his cap yet, but where his cap could be is something special. And then the final one I want to... Yep, the final one I'm going to focus on for this team spotlight, I want to talk about Albert Okwuegbunam. Most of y'all know him as Albert O., the Missouri tight end. Had a great year with Drew Lock. Didn't have much of a year at all the year following, but his combine will shoot him up boards. I could still see him getting 5th round, 4th round.
Yeah, in that area, I wouldn't really go wild with where he's going to be. I wouldn't even want to try to predict where this guy's going because based on his combine, he can go as high as 3rd or 2nd for teams that are like, hey, he's fast. Or he could fall to the 5th if teams are like, smart.
Yeah, exactly. But I would like to see him with his talent level. Obviously, it wasn't utilized as much as it should have been last year, but I would like to see how New England could handle him. Next up, we have the Buffalo Bills. Topher, go ahead and do their what we're looking at them losing and then their free agency.
We're not really looking at much here. They did a really good job building their team. They signed a lot of people last year, so they still have a lot of people under contract. Right. So they're losing maybe 2, they're definitely losing 2. Quentin Spain, Shaq Lawson. They were valuable. They have a solid left guard there in Quentin Spain, and Shaq Lawson was Shaq Lawson. Right. He was just super athletic, solid run stopper, didn't really do much as far as sacks are concerned.
Right.
Makes sense. And then, Jordan Phillips, who is like their 3rd-string defensive tackle, but he could actually be looking at some money because, decent run stopper, big body, just let him take up a guard or 2.
Yeah.
And then free agency, they're very popular when they like to talk about Yannick Ngakoue. A lot of people are looking at him as like a sign and trade, but I don't really know about that. I'd like to see him hit the free agency, see what type of money he could get, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's tagged. I really like them to get Yannick, though, if he falls.
And I notice these next 2 bullet points you have, stealing from inside the division.
Joe Thuney would be a great replacement for Quentin Spain, maybe even get both of them back and you have a solid guard duo there. And then the other one, Kyle Von Noy. Why not? I mean, they need linebackers. It's obvious, they're down to Lorenzo Alexander is likely to retire. He's like 37 years old. So replace him with Kyle Von Noy. That is a ridiculous fit for their scheme and would honestly take their defense to astronomical levels.
Yeah, I think Kyle Van Noy, wherever he lands, it's going to be a nice fit. I don't want to see him go to the Detroit Patriots just because I'm starting to already get tired of that becoming New England's developmental system. But Kyle Van Noy is super talented. I'm very interested to see where he lands.
And another potential target could possibly be like Devin Kennard. Yeah. If the Detroit Patriots, like you said, Devin Kennard might get cut, make that cap space just so that they could use it to sign Kyle Van Noy back after, like I said earlier, he was traded there. And then, then they could just steal Kennard because edge rushing linebackers that can also cover are in high demand. Yeah. Kyle Van Noy.
All right, so let's
That's
focus.
really it.
Well, yeah, let's focus in a little bit on their draft. Early on, they have a middle pick, and we're looking at them probably going edge just like their superior opponent right now.
Yeah, with Jerry Hughes hitting the twilight of his career, he's starting to, he's just kind of lingering now. They're paying him a lot of money to be average at this point in his career.
Yeah.
And they're losing Shaq Lawson, so they need edge.
Fair.
It's obvious, and I like them, maybe trading up to get Kelvon Chase on, steal him from probably Atlanta is the top option to get him right now. Maybe the Buccaneers since they're losing Shaq Barrett, but they have other needs.
Yeah, I feel like you've got to move. I don't think Oakland will trade back because they've already got 2 firsts. But I would like to see if Cleveland would move because the offensive tackles are starting to slide. Like Andrew Thomas, I think that they might still be in position to get him when this pick rolls around. And Andrew Thomas is still my best offensive tackle in this class. Or Wirfs is my best right tackle, Thomas being my best left tackle. But I'm very curious as to see if they could work anything on Chason. But hypothetically, if they stand put, what do you think they'll do?
Epenesa's been falling a lot. And I really like Curtis Weaver. And he's fallen a little bit out of favor. So, with that being said, he could easily slide. And I would hate to see him go into the second day. So, I think he'd be a great fit with Buffalo, without a doubt.
I love Curtis Weaver so much. High motor, such a great production in college.
He's just a workhorse.
It's Boise State boy, too, blue turf.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch that tape because it's hard to see what you're looking for, but whenever you get to focus in on Curtis Weaver, you like what you see.
Yeah, like Leighton Vander Esch. It was hard to watch his games.
Not from anything he was doing.
Well, yeah, no, it's just burns your corneas.
Runs your eyes up a little bit. Now, let's take a little bit of day 2. Realistically, the receiver targets.
I wouldn't be surprised if they doubled up on receivers in the second and third round with the way that they're looking. John Brown, he was solid last year. But, he's turning 30. He's going to lose some of those wheels. And
it's just interesting whenever the top receiving option that you can think of for a team is John Brown.
And, and then you have the cowboy. A ginger-haired man, Cole Beasley. But, we no need to make fun of them for their receiving core.
No.
But you need to give Josh Allen some options outside of Tyler Kroft.
Bulk it up.
And Dawson Knox. So, like Justin Jefferson in the second day, he can fall past the Eagles. I know that his name's been thrown around with them and the Saints. But, other receivers have certainly taken over those top spots from him. Justin Jefferson, Laviska Shenault.
Yeah.
Big fan. Jump ball guy. Monster.
He's going to be something special. I relate him a lot to Anquan Bolden.
That's such a good fit. All right. And then DPJ out of Michigan. Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Baller.
Excellent name.
Whenever you stand out in Michigan, because they had a fair bit of struggles last year. A fair bit of struggles. But the way he stood out, even with Shea Patterson, who's kind of been maybe the lame duck quarterback of this class.
I still like him, but it has way too much to do with his athleticism.
That's fair. And he was the top quarterback coming in.
Well, yeah.
And Topher, run me through what you're looking at for some of those later picks.
Definitely looking at O-linemen.
Yep.
At least prospect-wise. You're going to look at interior, too, since you're losing Quentin Spain, and maybe don't want to, open your wallet to offer roughly $11 million to Joe Thuney, who, while deserves it, you need to allocate that money perhaps better. If Amari Cooper finds his way to free agency, that's got to be their top target. And I know it might sound weird, maybe not even a scheme fit, but getting Josh Allen a top target like that would be insane. Because imagine him just throwing it 80 yards down the field to Amari just for fun. That'd be great. But, we're looking at guys like Netane Moody, Ben Bredesen.
Fair.
I really like those guys going there. You know, I feel like they have time to develop, and you know, with the way that they've been building up that O-line, they would get that time. Or at least, you know, maybe Natane Moody would start if they don't sign back Quentin Spain.
Natane Moody is definitely a day one starter option, more so than Ben Bredesen.
Yeah, no, Ben Bredesen would actually be an interesting pick for the Patriots. You know, they develop players like so fast, you know, and it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But if not, maybe if Albert O falls, like we were just talking about, that'd be interesting. And maybe let him and Dawson Knox fight it out for that top spot. You know, I didn't really see any other tight ends that they'd be interested in. You know, I tried looking, but like that late, he would be the only standout that I'd notice because they still have Dawson Knox. But I'd love to see what they could do because he reminds me a lot of Tyler Croft.
Yeah,
With,
I could see
you know,
that.
maybe some more wheels.
A little bit more wheels. But let's go ahead and let's zone in on the Jets. Their potential free agents that they could be losing. The two big ones to me that stand off the paper are Robbie Anderson and Kelvin Beachum. Obviously losing your starting tackle and arguably your best receiver. But also you're looking at Ryan Khalil leaving, Brian Poole. And a man I'd like to focus on a little bit, Neville Hewitt. Robbie Anderson, probably the biggest one you have to go get. And if you can't reach a deal with Robbie Anderson, which I feel like the Jets will bring him back. I really do. But if you can't, I like the idea of replacing him with Breshad Perriman. I really do.
Breshad Perriman showed out. But you know what? Something that I feel like if you play Madden... Now listen to what I'm about to say here.
Okay,
If you play Madden, you might not know the value of Kelvin Beachum. Because he is one of the best pass blockers in this division, at least.
Yes.
And he's probably one of a higher-end pass blocker in the league. But the thing is, he doesn't block the run. So Madden just hates him and gives him a 69 overall, and that's not fair. So don't look into his Madden rating. Just know, trust us when we tell you he's a quality left tackle.
Real games, not Madden.
Thank you.
Focus on those. But, no, yeah, Breshad Perriman being my primary replacement for Robbie Anderson. You could look at Geronimo Allison. Not as big of a fit on that one. But Neville Hewitt, as I mentioned earlier, he is such an impact player in my eyes. He's going to come back for cheap, and whenever he's on the field, he makes plays. He makes sure that he's around that ball fairly constantly. And I don't think that that's a player the Jets can afford to miss on.
He has a lot of pass coverage value, something that often gets undervalued in the free agency, but we saw guys like Quan Alexander get paid. Jordan Hicks got the bag.
Yep.
Even then got hurt for like most of the season. But, you know, he did that on the Eagles, too, and, you know, he still got his money. And Neville Hewitt, another guy. Man, you disrespect him constantly.
Yes, very much so.
I think they just don't like the Jets.
Nah, I mean, it's hard to.
I mean, why would you?
I
Unless
think
you're
I'm hard on
from
this.
New York and, you know, for some reason just grew up in a house that didn't like the Giants. Although, I grew up in a house that loved the Giants, and I'm a Vikings fan. Look at me.
So that's the primary focus on their free agency. Let's move into the draft. Currently, they sit at the 12th overall pick. They could go for offensive tackle or wide receiver. And most of this depends on what Arizona does. Because if Arizona decides that they're okay with just sticking with DJ Humphries, obviously they just gave him his extension and they want to get a receiver, my ideal fit for them is CD Lamb or Jerry Jeudy.
I like that a lot, but I noticed something weird. I see CeeDee Lamb jumping Jerry Jeudy a lot, and I don't understand that. Could you maybe try to shed some light on that?
Combine. The most overrated part of this process is the combine, and a lot of people love it. And it's a fun show to watch, don't get me wrong, but there's such an understatement for what you can take away from that because they're not running in pads. The hands are fine. They're catching drills. You can still pay attention to that. CeeDee Lamb had a phenomenal catch at the combine.
Without a doubt.
But you have to focus on tape, and I remain a big fan of Jerry Jeudy over CeeDee Lamb. But anyways, at 12 overall pick, you're looking at either one of those two guys, Tristan Wirfs or maybe Mekhi Becton. Get somebody in on that line. I'm not a big Becton guy, but if you can't retain Beachum, you might have to opt for Becton.
See, I like Becton. I just hate him going this early. I feel like he'd be a great, late first, early second pick, but him going 12, it's a mystery to me.
Yeah, it's combine. Again, it's size and combine. He was already kind of mid-20s, late first-round pick.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that a lot. It makes plenty of sense. He's a really big guy. He's fast, and since he's fast, we have to get him early.
Josh Jones is kind of taking over that position, but
I like Josh Jones.
I do a lot. I like Josh Jones a lot out of Houston. But whatever they don't get in the first round, I think they need to focus on in round 2. So you're looking at guys like Josh Jones, like I just mentioned. Prince Tega, he could be a very nice fit in New York. Brandon Ayuk, love him across. Even if they retain Robbie Anderson, getting Brandon Ayuk and having a core of Ayuk, Anderson, and Crowder.
I love Crowder.
Yeah, oh yeah. I have to. He was a great player for us, and unfortunately he did walk. But
yeah, that sucked. You could have been like a very good receiver on your team, and he decided to be slightly below average on the Jets because that's what they do to all good players.
They love them some devaluating talent. But
Oh yeah,
but yeah, Brandon Ayuk being an option, T. Higgins being another one. And looking at their round 3, you can see. I feel like they really need a corner. Brian Poole is a free agent option that is kind of going away.
I really think that they should try to retain him.
Which makes sense.
He had a good season with them, and you don't really see a lot of people have good seasons with the Jets.
No, you don't.
And the only ones that really ever stood out were the guys that were consistently great, like Jamal Adams and Marcus May.
Yep.
Maybe Avery Williamson.
Darrelle Revis. There we go.
Darrelle Revis, that is...
Right there.
Yeah.
Right there, guy. But
I almost missed his hand.
we talk about sports. That does not mean we're good at them or just being generally coordinated. But either way, round 3, let's look at grabbing them a corner. Maybe my favorite low-key corner in the draft, Troy Pride. I expect him to be there.
I like Bryce Hall better. And
yeah, I put him down there as an option.
I see you put him down there. He's fallen a bit, which kind of surprised me. I thought he'd stay up, higher even after the combine, but
somewhere in the second. But
if he's there in the third, they got to take him. He's undervalued.
And if they can find some versatility out of Harrison Hand, I know that he could project as a safety in the league, but if they can make sure that he sticks out there out wide, I feel like he could end up being a decent player. But looking at some deep round players, Stanford Samuels III from Florida State, I genuinely enjoy watching his tape. I think he's a talented guy. He's going to need some time to develop. I can acknowledge that he's not NFL ready, but I do know that what I've seen so far I enjoy. Ray Lima, he's a D tackle. His pass rush needs polished, but early on, if you want to sub him in for whenever your guys are tired, get in there and just break up some rushes. He's a good, put him in on first down. Definitely goal line set guy.
He's what Louis Nix should have been.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of being traded up for and stuffed into his starting role and getting overshadowed by Vince Wilfork.
And
sorry, Louis Nix. If you watch our show, know that I love you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Louis, on behalf of him. But Austin Mack is the final one I want to focus on here. He's been the forgotten Buckeye this year, and for no real reason. I mean, KJ Hill's hanging out. They've had so many other talents that are there, not even in wide receiver, just sporadically across the other side of the ball, that you kind of forget about Austin Mack. And he started for 2 years, I believe. I know he started 6 games for 3 years, but he has a very solid frame. I think that he could come in and be a low-end starter pretty quick. But that will move us to our last team, the Miami Dolphins, and the most pick team. How would you, because it's not pickiest. It would be
disastrous. Here's the thing: when we look, and believe me, I did my diligence. I looked through 3 websites trying to find all of their free agents, their cap space, people that they might be looking at, and in full rebuild mode, I don't know where it all is because they're only impact free agents leaving. And I wanted to add Vince Beagle to this list, but come on.
No, you didn't.
You're behind Charles Harris.
No, you didn't.
And Charles Harris is Charles Harris. One of the biggest busts over the past 3 years. But I found these 4 names. Aqib Talib. That's a standout name. He didn't play a snap for them. Walt Aikens. He was a Pro Bowler a few times as a special teamer. Trevor Davis. You will probably only remember him when he played with the Packers as a return man.
Yep.
And then he got cut and signed. Or didn't get retained. One or the other. Honestly, when you're that low on the depth chart, It's not really a measurable difference. And then Matt Hack, their punter, who they're probably going to re-sign.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then we go into the free agency. You're in full rebuild mode. You're not going to spend that $98 million. You're probably going to try to let it roll over unless you're really looking at signing a quarterback.
Yeah.
So people that they might look at, Kyle Van Noy. That is a pipe dream. But
Very much so.
let's keep going. Jason Pierre-Paul, a lot more realistic. Why would you sign a 31-year-old with 8 fingers? Because he still has production. Don't mean to rip on JPPs. It's still a good player, but like, why would you sign a 31-year-old in full rebuild mode?
I'll rip on JPP all I want. He's in my division. He used to be in my division. I have no interest in
Do whatever you want, man.
complimenting JPP.
And then the only person that makes sense on this list of 3 names is Jack Conklin. I love Jack Conklin. I think he's a little underrated. They considered moving him to guard this year, which I thought was weird. He's still a quality tackle. They should think about pouring some money into Jack Conklin and no one else this free agency because it's hard to draft quality tackles in the later rounds.
Very much so. Conklin's still got quite a bit of tread on the wheels, but free agency is not what they're going to be focusing on, so I don't feel like we really have to either.
And you know what? You can take care of this draft because they have so many picks and you accumulated a lot of characters putting together a solid list of names.
Yeah.
So you can take it from here. I'll chime in with maybe some one-liners along the way.
Yeah. Just let me know
Get-
what's up.
get-
If you hear something you don't like, just let me know. But
All right.
let's look at that top pick, number 5. Realistically, they're going to have to move up to get Tua. If they want Tua that bad, they're going to need to move their way up to get him. But let's say, hypothetically, they stay. Nobody else trades up. Maybe you get Tua at 5. Realistically, you're looking at Justin Herbert from Oregon. Obviously, neither one of us are big Herbert guys. Go back and watch episode 2 for that one.
But there has been rumors swirling that they like Justin Herbert more. I know I said that I was going to leave this to you,
Yes.
but I needed to remind everyone. If you watch this show on a consistent basis, you know we mentioned Herbert might be their guy, and that's their own mistake. So I think they should trade up for Tua, but if they want to sit back and get Herbert, that is fine by them.
Yeah, now next up you're looking at their number 18th pick. Kristen Fulton is my ideal target here. Andrew Thomas, we mentioned him sliding a little bit. He could be there at that position. Either one of those, they have so many holes that you really can't go wrong. You just kind of go best player available. Pick 26, we're looking at Josh Jones maybe. And my big thing that I would be watching here, make sure that teams don't get jumpy on J.K. Dobbins. I feel like he's the best running back in this class. And I feel like the Dolphins could get pressured to take him in round 1. I'm not a big fan of having a running back in the first round, but
What side of the line does Josh Jones play?
he is right side. He can move.
They should get Thomas and Josh Jones, and then
That would be fun.
and save their wallet some stress by not paying Jack Conklin too much money. I keep saying that, like, pay their guys too much money. Like Kyle Van Noy, he is not really a $15 million a year player, but he's going to get that. And, Conklin's probably going to be looking at anywhere from the massive range of, like, 18 to, like, $14.5 million a year, which is ridiculous for him.
Very much so.
But back to you.
Moving on, 2 picks. Going to go ahead and look at these. DeAndre Swift, if J.K. Dobbins is gone. Antoine Winfield could be a fit. Jalen Reagor, Austin Jackson. So many potential moves there. I'm more focused in, I would like to see them go get Antoine Winfield. I think he's an uber-talented safety and hang him over the top and maybe even move Bobby McCain to a corner like he should be. But the next pick I'm looking at, target 56, Van Jefferson from Florida, great receiver. Willie Gay Jr. has been jumping up boards as a linebacker. That's probably where I would lean, but if you skipped on Antoine Winfield and with that first, second round pick, go ahead and look at Ashton Davis. He's also a very talented free safety. He can maneuver around that ball, and I think that wherever he lands is going to have an immediate starter.
All right. So, is Willie Gay related to Will Gay from the Steelers?
I don't think.
I'll look it up.
Look it up. Look it up while I burn through these. Now let's look at some deep round prospects. Nick Coe, very sneaky good 3-4 edge rusher. Would love to see him land on a team that's going to utilize him properly, and I think Brian Flores could find a spot for him. Next up, Tariq Castro Fields, good upsize, and he's not undersized. He sits at 6 foot. could be a cornerback option, especially if Xavier Howard is going to go through these issues legally that he's been through. And the last guy I would like to focus on, Jake Hansen from Oregon. He could come in as a placeholder starter and develop into a consistent O-lineman. The Dolphins need interior line anyways. Could be a very integral piece to their team moving forward, even in the late rounds. Did you find anything?
I'm trying.
Okay. Because we're about to wrap this show up.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Okay, so I couldn't find anything. He's probably not. Actually, no, he probably is. But, that's fine. Doesn't really matter.
We'll leave that one up to the viewers. But if you guys have anything you want to know more about, anything you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments below. But I've been Jackson McCarty.
And I am the Chris Barr.
We'll see you next time.
Hell yeah.